Midway through the SportsMax Zone on this Tuesday, we are back and ready to talk some cricket now. Sheldon Cottrell, Shimron, Hetmyer, O'Shane Thomas and Andre Russell have all been named by the West Indies in a provisional 18-man T20 squad to prepare for the upcoming games against three touring teams, Pakistan, South Africa and Australia. Now this is the full list of the West Indies squad that will be in camp for this. Kieron Pollard, captain Nicholas Pooran, the vice-captain Fabian Allen, Dwayne Bravo, Sheldon Cottrell, Fidel Edwards, Andre Fletcher, Chris Gale, Shimron Hetmyer, Jason Holder, Akil Hussain, Elvin Lewis, Obed McCoy, Andre Russell, Lendl Simmons, Kevin Sinclair, O'Shane Thomas and Hayden Walsh Jr. Cricket West Indies says the squad will quarantine and train in St. Lucia ahead of the first T20 international against South Africa. That will be on the 26th of June. Now, joining us to talk about the shape of this squad, Fazeer Mohammed. Welcome back, sir. Great to have you back on the SportsMax Zone. Hope all is well with you and Trinidad and Tobago's battle against COVID-19. But your first take, Faz, on this white ball squad that the Windies has named.
Indeed, it's a thanks. Good to be back. Always good to be back on SportsMax. By the way, it's 23 deaths and 621 cases today for Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to COVID-19. So it's a real challenge right now. Today, 23 deaths and 621 cases reported today over the last 24-hour period. So make no bones about it, we are in a period of real strife. The state of emergency was declared by the Prime Minister over the weekend. And this is going to be with us for a while from all indications. But getting to the more trivial issue, but for us in a sporting context, the more important issue about the squad, I think it more or less selects itself because when you think about it, it is really gearing up towards 15 T20 internationals towards a World T20 defense if it happens, COVID-19 permitting. So basically, I think the selectors would have covered all their bases: young talents, experience, maybe a few underperformers who still have the potential to produce something truly spectacular, giving some of the players an opportunity back in the fold, testing the older ones to see if they can really last the course of a grueling period of 15 matches, if they're going to play all 15 matches, because with COVID, you're going to want to have a bigger squad than is usual. So really nothing really shocking as far as either selections or omissions in the squad of 18.
Yeah, CWI said today that Sunil Narine had told lead selector Roger Harper that he wasn't yet ready to return to international cricket. I suspect that, that is still the case. Your thought on Sunil Narine's continuous absence from international cricket for the West Indies as he continues to ply his trade in the IPL and other tournaments?
And that's a valid talking point, Lance. We can't get away from that reality that you've got someone who seems happy to play almost everywhere else in the world, but whenever it comes to representing the West Indies, there's a concern, and it might be a legitimate concern. Remember, though, ahead of the 2015 World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, when he was actually selected, he got 6 for 9 in the final of the Regional Super 50 against Guyana at Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad, and promptly announced that he didn't feel confident enough to play for the West Indies at the World Cup. So this is a recurring decimal. And you cannot fault the selectors if they basically say, look, we can only go by what we've been told. The last communication we had with Sunil Narine, whether it was 6 months ago, whether it was 12 months ago, whether it was 2 years ago, whether it was 5 minutes ago, if the last thing that they would have heard from him is that he doesn't think that he's ready, it's no point pursuing that. You've got to look at your other options. If he changes his mind, changes his circumstances, it's up to him to notify the selectors.
Yeah. Specifically though, Faz, wouldn't this have anything to do with his bowling action and any discomfort on that? Because we know he has been called for throwing many times so far in his career. Do you think this has anything to do with it?
I suspect it has, but the way it looks, Lance, is that he seems willing to give it a go in the IPL, give it a go in CPL. I remember at one time in one of the tournaments, he played with a serious finger injury and was prepared to still give it his all. So again, it's not about questioning a player's level of commitment, but it's how it looks in the sense that here you are, someone who's still a quality performer, because yes, he's had his ups and downs of late, he's had his challenges with his bowling action. Maybe he feels he'll be under a greater microscope with a world tournament, but how much of a greater microscope can it be than the IPL, which is the biggest, the richest tournament in the game, in any part of the world, attracts a huge global audience, yet he makes himself available for it.
Definitely, Faz. I want to talk a bit about Shimron Hetmyer. Of course, you know, he didn't get a retainer contract. He has been recalled into this West Indies squad. You know, what will be his approach as he gets set, you know, to get back in West Indies good books and, of course, you know, leave an impression that ensures that the next time his name is not left out?
Well, it's up to Shimron Hetmyer. And I know there's been a lot of discussion since he was removed from a white ball contract. Previously, he had a red ball contract as well. But it's up to the player. And you know, there will always be a lot of comments. Well, this player had so much attitude and gave so much trouble, but he was always part of the West Indies team. How come you're sidelining Shimron Hetmyer and so on? Well, again, we can only go by what this current dispensation would be saying, that they've got some clear parameters that they've established. They want to use those parameters. They have not written off Shimron Hetmyer by any means because he's part of the squad. But a retainer contract is a vote of confidence based on sustained consistency. And it's a simple matter that Hetmyer hasn't fulfilled that, both in terms of his performance and in terms of his fitness. So no one else has to answer for that than Shimron Hetmyer.
All right, and how beneficial will it be to the West Indies squad that, you know, Jason Holder has been allowed, you know, to take some time for himself and join the rest of the team at a later date because of his workload?
He's had a tremendous workload, and I think psychologically he was affected by being replaced as Test captain, and you're only getting it coming out in bits and pieces because he is not that type of individual who will let it out wholesale that he felt hurt being sacked as West Indies Test captain, because he's already lost the white ball captaincy previously, which was something that was clearly on the cards. But in this situation, given all that he would have given as far as commitment to the West Indies cause, what he's had to endure, the comments made to him and about the West Indies team and his leadership, he would have felt hard done by. But no one can question his commitment. No one can question his growing improvement. His numbers tell the story. His all-rounders ranking tells the story. And if he's given a period of rest, no one deserves a bit of rest more than Jason Holder for the work that he's put in for the West Indies, for his franchises. And let's hope that he comes back raring and firing on all cylinders.
Faz, stay with us. We still have a lot more cricket to discuss here on the SportsMax Zone, and we'll be back on the other side of this break.